You understand? So that is what I have got from the Ibadan Convention. The last aspect of it is the unfortunate reference by Governor Seyi Makinde to Operation Wetie of the First Republic. Again, this is another a disturbing pattern I've noticed with the opposition. First, it was Peter Obi who says Abacha, the dictator. Abacha, not even his own family, will publicly praise him. Abacha was a better leader than the Democrats, than the democracy activists, those that risked their fortune, risked their life. Some actually paid the ultimate sacrifice with their lives, as journalists, as politicians, as activists, to hand over to us the democracy Peter Obi himself is now struggling to preside over. Peter Obi elevated Abacha over those democracy activists, opening a very, very tragic chapter of our history, one we are trying to forget. The same thing with Governor Seyi Makinde. I was trying to draw the parallels of what essence was bringing to memory or resurrecting that part of our history, Operation Wetie, because there was no, I couldn't draw the parallels. Operation Wetie came to be from the crisis in the action group in the First Republic, Awolowo, and his deputy, Samuel Aduke Akintola. Awolowo was premier. He was trying to go to the center. Akintola became premier. There was conflict between them. It's cascaded into the legislative crisis within the regional assembly. All right? Then the central government of Tafawa Balewa at the time intervened. The intervention was deemed partial, which worsened the crisis. Eventually, there was an election in 1965 that was considered defective, and crisis erupted at the time. Serious riot. Wetie is a Yoruba word. Wetie, it means to soak in liquid, but they were not referring to water. They were referring to fuel, gasoline. In reaction to that crisis, people of that axis came out and began to raise properties, burn people. We lost lives in that Operation Wetie of the First Republic crisis. Lives were lost. The crisis, the region fell into anarchy. All right? Eventually, it was on the backs of that Awolowo was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. And his allies, the likes of Anthony Anaoro, sentenced to 15 years. It was that crisis that eventually gave the majors of 1966, January 15, to stage the first coup. It gave them a reason. You know, when you want to plot chaos, you need a reason. That crisis gave them the reason to strike, and it led to the fall of the First Republic. Now tell me, how does that story I just recounted here as concise as I can be, what relationship does it have with opposition gathering to pick a candidate? What he is suggesting is that except Asiwaju release himself for defeat in 2027, Operation Wetie, the crisis that broke the First Republic, could also be revisited to break the Fourth Republic. It's an unfortunate statement. You see, in Brazil, in 2022, when the president contested and lost, I'm stalking the incumbent president, he contested and lost. And he began going in everywhere saying the process was not credible. It was rigged. It was banned for 10 years. It was banned till 2030 thereabouts before he could participate in the political activity at all. That's where I believe the Nigerian state must wake up to is we cannot allow leaders to be reckless. The law had given room for disgruntled political actors. When you contest, a winner must emerge. A loser must also be announced. Or a loser must also emerge, right? If you lose, there are ways highlighted by law through which you can seek redress. There's no other way. Our constitution does not envisage self-help. But Governor Makinde there was actually campaigning and that was actually a threat. Could be categorized as treason. Trying to say whatever happened in 1965 that led to the break of law and order in the Western region should be expected, should then lose. And you will lose, heavens will not fall. Because opposition must conduct itself responsibly and ensure that this Nigerian state, after all, you want to govern over people, this Nigerian state must exist before anybody could choose to preside over it.